Welcome to the Eat This Book podcast. I'm Michael Whitworth. Each day we take a small piece of scripture and we sit with it. Not a quick snack that disappears before lunch, not a chore you check off of a list, but rather a meal meant to be savored. So pull up a chair. Let's eat. 2 chapters, 2 arrivals, 2 very different welcomes. In Genesis 18, 3 visitors appear at Abraham's tent. In Genesis 19, 2 of them arrive at Sodom's gate. Same visitors, same mission, completely opposite receptions. The contrast tells us everything we need to know about why fire is coming. When the visitors appeared at Abraham's tent, Abraham ran. He ran to meet them. He bowed to the ground. He begged them not to pass by. Let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. A little water, he said, and then prepared a feast. 3 seahs of fine flour, a tender calf, curds and milk. He stood by while they ate, attending to their needs. This is hospitality at its finest. The stranger is treated as honored guest. The traveler is protected, fed, refreshed. Abraham's tent was a place of welcome. When the visitors arrive at Sodom, Lot is sitting at the gate. The gate was where city business happened. Legal transactions, community gatherings, the social center of urban life. Lot has become a city man. He's moved from pitching his tent toward Sodom to sitting in its gate. He sees the visitors. He rises to meet them. He bows with his face to the earth. He invites them to his house. Please turn aside to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. So far, so good. Lot's welcome echoes Abraham's. The nephew has learned something from his uncle. But the visitors resist. No, we will spend the night in the town square. This is a test. They want to see what happens to strangers who sleep in Sodom's streets. They want to expose what this city does to the vulnerable. Lot presses strongly. He knows something the visitors seem not to know, or rather, something they know all too well. The town square is not safe. Strangers who sleep there don't wake up well. He pressed them strongly, and they turned aside to his house. Lot prepares a meal. He bakes unleavened bread. They eat. The hospitality continues. Inside Lot's house, things look almost normal. A man welcoming travelers, a meal shared, the ancient code of host and guest being honored. But outside, something is gathering. Before they lay down, the men of the city surrounded the house. Not some of the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man. This is the whole city. This is unanimous. Whatever is about to happen represents not a fringe element, but the total corruption of the community. They surround the house, and they call out to Lot. Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them. The Hebrew word yada can mean simple acquaintance, but in context it means something else entirely. It's the same word used for sexual intimacy. Adam knew his wife Eve. The men of Sodom want to gang rape the visitors. This is what happens to strangers here. This is why Lot pressed them not to sleep in the square. This is the outcry that reached heaven. The contrast with Abraham could not be sharper. Abraham saw strangers and ran to serve them. Sodom sees strangers and surrounds them to violate them. Abraham offered water, rest, and food. Sodom offers violence, humiliation, and abuse. Abraham's tent was a sanctuary. Sodom's streets are a hunting ground. Lot goes out to them. He shuts the door behind him. He tries to negotiate. I beg you, my brothers, do not act so wickedly. He calls them brothers. He's trying to reason with a mob. He's standing between the visitors and the violence. And then Lot does something horrifying. Behold, I have 2 daughters who have not known any man. Let me bring them out to you, and do to them as you please. Only do nothing to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof. Lot offers his virgin daughters to the mob. This is almost impossible to read. A father protecting strangers by sacrificing his children. The ancient hospitality code taken to a monstrous extreme. The guest must be protected even at the cost of family. We're not meant to admire this. We're meant to be horrified. Lot has lived in Sodom so long that his moral compass has shattered. He's trying to do right, protect the vulnerable guests, but his method reveals how corrupted he's become. Sodom has gotten into Lot, even if Lot hasn't become Sodom. The mob's response tells us everything. Stand back. This fellow came to sojourn, and he has become the judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. They reject Lot's offer, not because offering daughters is wrong. They don't care about that. They reject it because they want these men, these specific strangers. The violence is targeted, and they turn on Lot himself, the sojourner who dares to judge them, the outsider who thinks he can tell natives how to behave. They press hard against Lot. They draw near to break the door, and then the visitors act. The men inside reach out, pull Lot into the house, and shut the door. They strike the men outside with blindness, a confusion, a disorientation, so that they wear themselves out, groping for the door. The visitors are not helpless, they're angels, and angels can defend themselves. But notice, they waited. They let the scene unfold. They let Sodom expose itself fully before they intervened. God wanted to see whether the outcry matched the reality. Now he's seen. Every man, young and old, all the people to the last man. The verdict is in. Here's what the contrast teaches us. Hospitality reveals the heart. How you treat the stranger, the vulnerable, the one who needs something from you, that shows who you really are. Abraham's welcome showed a heart aligned with God. Sodom's assault showed a heart utterly opposed. The stranger is a test. Every culture, every community, every person is revealed by how they treat those who have no power and no claim. Sodom's sin wasn't just sexual. Yes, the attempted gang rape is horrific. But Ezekiel 16:49 gives a fuller picture. Behold, this was the guilt of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had pride, excess of food, and prosperous ease, but did not aid the poor and the needy. Pride, excess, ease, and neglect of the vulnerable. The sexual violence of Genesis 19 is the fruit of something deeper, a total rejection of the image of God in other people. When you stop seeing strangers as human, anything becomes possible. Lot is a tragic figure. He chose Sodom because it looked like Eden. He pitched his tent toward it, then moved in, then sat in its gate. He tried to maintain some decency. He took in the strangers. He resisted the mob. But living in Sodom had cost him. His moral reasoning was compromised. His daughters were engaged to men who thought judgment was a joke. His solution to violence was to offer different victims. You can live in a place without becoming it, but you can't live there without being affected by it. The visitors came to both places with the same posture. Travelers, strangers, vulnerable. Abraham saw them and served. Sodom saw them and attacked. And God saw both responses. So here's what Genesis 19 verses 1 through 11 would have us savor today. If you want to know the condition of a heart, a home, a community, watch how they treat strangers. Watch how they respond to the vulnerable. Watch what happens when someone shows up who needs something. If you've been shaped by your environment, if you've lived in your own Sodom so long that your instincts have shifted, your solutions have become distorted, this passage says it's possible to still try to do right while getting it terribly wrong. Lot wasn't wicked like Sodom, but Sodom had twisted him. And if you're the stranger, if you're the vulnerable one, the one without power, the one who depends on the mercy of others, this passage says God sees how you're treated. The outcry reaches heaven, the angels come, and judgment follows. 2 arrivals, 2 welcomes. Abraham's tent, run, bow, serve, feast. Sodom's gate, surround, demand, threaten, attack. The visitors were the same. The responses revealed everything. Fire was coming. And now we know why. Next time on Eat This Book, the verdict is fallen, the fire is coming, and Lot lingers. What do you do when judgment is certain but your heart is still attached to the city? Join me again in Genesis 19 as mercy grabs a reluctant man by the hand and drags him to safety. Thanks for reading with me. Until next time, may the Word dwell in you richly.